Sean Sewell with Engearment.com. Welcome to our home. I'm going to show you my favorite product for health and wellness I've tested here in 2025. It is the Supertub from Hydragun. It is a cold plunge system, and I have it set up on the side of our house here. There it is. An inflatable, portable, cold plunge with a 0.6 horsepower circulator. This tub can get down to 38 degrees Fahrenheit and up to 105 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is the first true cold plunge hot tub that I've ever seen. It's rated for one person, although my wife and I have definitely gotten in here before. In this review, I'll go over the features, functions, the remote control for it, the app, and how to use it. So let's get into it. I currently have it on for my daily ritual, and what it is this. Simply a tub of water. This is inflatable right here. The lid is inflatable as well. And I have it set to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which for me is about right. I'm gonna take it down 1 degree, just for the heck of it. Yeah, 49. And I run this, and have been running this for the last 3 months, every day, through 20 rainstorms. You can see the ground is still wet. Through 2 snowstorms. I run it as a hot tub to 105 degrees. I run it down to 38 degrees. I've had my wife in it with me, and I'm 6'1", 220 pounds, and she's a little bit smaller than me. We both fit in here. So in this video, I'll go into it, literally, show you how I set it up, show you how it works, and my thoughts. So let's get into it. Getting into it. Oh yeah. So, cold plunge. A lot of health benefits. People go down to 38 degrees, 40 degrees, 45. I find 45 to 50 is ideal for me. Currently I have it set at 50, as you can see. Might be 51 once I got in. But the idea here is to get just uncomfortable. You start to shiver, you've gone in too long. I usually go in for 3 to 5 minutes, 5, 6, 7 days a week. Sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, depending on how much information I have. You can look into the science behind cold plunges to see if that's beneficial for you. I'm going to do another video doing contrast therapy, which is cold plunging with hot, whether it's a finished sauna like we have at our gym or a sauna blanket, so stay tuned for that. A little bit about this tub. So this tub is portable, inflatable, and durable. They say don't put it outside, so I put it outside. It's been outside for 3 months now. The unit behind me, the 0.6 horsepower pump, has been sufficient. There's a 0.8 horsepower version that would probably be more efficient, especially if you live in like very humid and very hot environments. We're here in Denver, Colorado. Pretty moderate. Like this weekend it was 85, 88 degrees. This morning was 45. So middle of the road temperature wise. Timing. Don't turn on, I think it's gonna be cold in the first minute. Ambient temperature of around 65, 70 degrees Fahrenheit will take about an hour, hour and a half to get to 50. So think about that. And it'll take probably twice as long as that to get to 105, depending on the temperature. Now this is black, and we do get quite a bit of sun, so that will heat the water up. So if you're using it for a hot tub, that's to your benefit. If you're using it for a cold plunge, it's not to your benefit. They recommended covering the unit. Again, I've not covered it on purpose because I want to see how hardy it is, and it has withstood our 1 mile high elevation with that direct beating sunshine, as well as the elements. It's withstood 3 snowstorms and about 21, 22 rainstorms in a row. It's going to rain again today. You can see the clouds right there. It's on the wet ground. It's going to rain. The contraption behind me is actually on at the moment. It can be quiet. It can also be a little bit loud depending on how much it's trying to circulate. And when it's going to hot tub mode, it is a little bit louder, it seems like. They recommend putting it on a separate circuit, and I second that for sure. I put it on my outside circuit right there, and immediately blew our circuit not only for the outside, but for the inside, because they're tied together for some reason. So our TV and sound system's on the same circuit as our outside circuit, which is weird. So if you have an outside circuit that's just standalone for maybe some outside lights or something, you'll probably be fine. But if you have it on the same circuit as a bunch of other appliances, it will trip the circuit. It won't break anything, just trip the circuit, go to the breaker and turn on. And that is the unit turning on to its full force to try and chill it down as my body temperature has raised the water a little bit. So that's the audio level you can look forward to hearing or not hearing, depending on how you have it set up. Durability has been fantastic. I haven't had any issues with it. I'll walk you around here in a minute, all the hoses and clamps, how to install them properly, the O-rings, where they go. It does come with the cleaning kit, a pH balance, a pH up and a pH down, as well as an alkalizer and a cleaner. I used it the first 2 weeks, and then I just stopped using it because I'm going to be dumping the water out every 3 weeks anyways. And I've used other cold plunges before and not done any kind of special treatment to them, and I've been fine, and my friends have been fine, so I'm not going to mess with that because the whole thing there. There's testing strips, there's all kinds of stuff, but there is some passive maintenance you can do with a filter, and I'll show you the 2 filters, and there's also a UV filter. So stay tuned for that in part 2. All right, now that I'm out of the tub, you can see I'm at the max line. It's circulating water. The touch screen, it is pumping out 19 to 20 liters per minute, and it is shooting for 49 degrees. It was up to 51.7 because I got in and it got up a little bit. Now I'll walk you around the back and I'll show you how it works. This was the big catch for us. We had to keep it a few inches away from our wall so that we did not pinch that line. Keep that in mind. These simply screw on, and then you can use this to close off the valve if you need to change a filter or anything. Same with this one. This is the cold, and this is the hot, or in and the out, I should say. A and B respectively. There you can hear the 2 fans going, pumping it up. That panel is covered. I've never had to reset that trip breaker. There is a passive filter right here, and there is another passive filter right here. This one is replaceable. I'd recommend buying a few of these and replace them every few weeks or every month, depending on how much you use it. The power goes out into that extension cord, which then goes into the wall. Rather simple. But that is the setup on that. Very sturdy, like I mentioned, but set it up before you fill it with water because you're going to have about 60 gallons of water, and that is something like 400 and some pounds to move. So put it in place before you set it up. The version I have came with this nice mat, which I use all the time. And then, of course, there is the 0.6 horsepower froster. Yeah, smart. It's free. And there is the permafrost screen. I'll back up one step. This is what the home screen looks like. You can add a device. I added the permafrost chiller. Boom. And then you can see it's doing great with water flow. 16 liters a minute. You can turn the power on and off. You can do Fahrenheit for us here in the US, Celsius for everybody else. You can lock the mechanism. You can switch the timer. The timer I have set every day at 7 p.m. to clean the ozone filter. You can set the ozone time, 3 minutes as recommended. And you can see the temperature right there. It'll go all the way up to 108, all the way down to 37. I keep it 50-ish. So that was pretty cool, right? It's a self-contained cold plunge that's portable and has a 0.6 or 0.8 horsepower circulator. You can remote control it from your phone when you can be hundreds of miles away. You can turn it on and get home in time for a hot tub or a cold plunge. You can do both in the same day. It's been very, very hardy against the elements here in Colorado. I've had it here for the spring and summer now at about 5280 feet, so 1 mile high, in partial to direct sunlight. It hasn't degraded. The glue on the laminate has held up. I haven't had any issues with it. Well, that's not true. Some user errors on my part. When it first came in, I added 1 O-ring to the big filter housing. It didn't need that. So what happened is it didn't create suction, and so I wasn't getting the flow rate. So I contacted customer service and they walked me through, and they were really quick to diagnose that I had added a ring where it didn't need to be. So all I had to do was unscrew the filter housing, take the O-ring off, and screw it back in, and boom, 20 liters per minute, got circulation going. Life is good. Another thing was I showed you that gap outside, how I had to place it away from our fence. I had it kind of close when I first set it up, and I kind of pinched a line, so I was getting a little bit of leaking right there. So definitely make sure you have, a few inches of space between the cold plunge tub and the fittings and a wall or whatever object you have right there. So make sure you have that space. Otherwise you will pinch it and it will leak, and that could be bad if it's inside your house. Other than that, I haven't had like condensation like some people have mentioned. I haven't experienced the condensation. Of course, it is also outside, so it does have more ability to breathe. Time to cold or time to hot. It's not immediate. There is about 60 gallons of water, keep in mind, and that 0.6 horsepower circulator is doing its best job to circulate that at about 20 liters per minute. So it's going to take, a little bit of time to get it to being really cold or be really hot. I found in Colorado, at least the last 3 months I've had it, it's maintained around 65 to 75 degree temperature and water. So if I'm going to heat up to 105, I budget about 3 hours or so for that. If I'm going to cool it down to 50, I budget about an hour and a half, 2 hours for that. And again, you can do that from the remote. So say you're getting off work at 5 p.m. and you know you'll be home at like 6, you could turn it on at 4:30, and by the time you're home at 6, you got a cold plunge waiting for you. And then of course, your mileage may vary at different altitudes and different temperatures, but that's what I've encountered here. It's rated for one person, and again, I'm 6 foot, 220 pounds, rather large person. I fit in there no problem, as I showed you out there. No shame in having my shirt off and my neighbors see me in the cold plunge. In fact, I always invite them over and have a beer and hang out in the cold plunge or the hot tub. It's only rated for one person. However, I mentioned earlier, my wife and I, she's a regular sized adult as well, have fit in here a few times. And what will happen is the water will overflow. So keep that in mind. So definitely refill it with water after the second person leaves. But it's fun. We've had many, many fun nights in there using it as a hot tub. So again, it's not rated for that. It's also not rated for being outside, but here it is. It's been outside for 3 months. I believe it's IPX4 waterproof rating, which is good enough for outside. Again, I've had it through at least 3 snowstorms and 20 some rainstorms, and probably another one here in about an hour or two. So it has been very durable. It has been easy to use. It's been a pleasure to use. And of course, from a physical standpoint, for a health standpoint, just tons of testimonies out there on cold plunges being beneficial for inflammation, and I can attest to that. I've definitely noticed since having the cold plunge, I've had 2 cold plunges over the last year. I've been cold plunging every day, all year round, even in the winter. One thing I've noticed personally is I've decreased my reliance on NSAIDs. So I have arthritis in both my feet and both my knees, and sometimes when it gets to be a bit much, I would rely on an Advil or 2. Haven't had to do that about a year. So that right there is huge. That's a huge health benefit. I'm not making that claim for anybody else out there. That's just my personal experience. So yes, it does reduce inflammation. It's pretty awesome. MSRP on our kit, as we showed it to you, is $3,000 US. $4,000 for the 0.8 horsepower unit, which is going to be more efficient, especially in hotter climates. So something to think about. It's in line with other ones out there too. So do your research, find ones that you think are going to be ideal for the situation, and look at reviews. Look at honest reviews. This is an honest review. I'm not paid to say any of this, but this is my experience with it, my wife's experience with it, and our neighbors who have used it. So hopefully me showing you how to set it up, how we've used it, showing you the location of where we're using it has been helpful. If it has, a thumbs up would be appreciated. You want to see more content on health and wellness, I have a lot more coming up this summer. Consider subscribing to our YouTube Engearment channel, link right there. Up next, I'm going to have a video on contrast therapy, which is how I utilize the cold plunge and sauna to improve my health. Pretty cool stuff. I'm Sean Sewell, owner and director of Stoke for Engearment. Until next time, take care.